So I'm working on relocating the battery for the fit to the trunk. Now there's like no videos whatsoever about how to do it, which kind of is annoying. So I'm just kind of following the throttle video. This is where the original battery sits. And so for the K swap, I think the K motor comes like a little bit further over. And then I just don't want the big battery in the way, and plus it'll help kind of with like weight distribution. But I'm gonna basically run a post maybe right here, and then get all this moved, like all the wiring kind of moved up to here, up and out of the way. Run this aught gauge wire through the door trim all the way down, and then maybe come out under here through the floor, or just come all the way around up through here, run a circuit breaker, and then hit the battery, and then have another piece that grounds off. And this right now, I don't know if you could tell, it's rocking back and forth on the holder that screws down the spare wheel. Once this goes on, this will probably get riv nutted or bolted down, like sandwich bolted, and this will just kind of disappear. And then usually I run this block of wood underneath because I put my drums on top of it, but I might get a router and just ride out a little channel. But yeah, that's the plan. I just got this bracket off of Amazon, wire off of Amazon, bunch of fittings and heat shrink and a little crimper off of Amazon. All this stuff is off of Amazon. You have to run it like around the door seal, up and over the wheel arch, up into this gray top piece, and then back down. And then that's how you get it kind of where I wanted to get it. You're literally following this big, thick, like body loom line all the way up and then into this gray piece. And then it'll come back down and around into here, and then down eventually out into where I want it. Big loop-de-loop rainbow. And then they got like super long tabs on here that you have to like pick the whole thing up and out to put on. Yeah, it's pretty annoying, honestly. Okay, it's all in there, all through, coming down, and there's my wire. So it only took me about 2.5 hours. So I was able to pull the wire that I'm going to use for power through the main wiring harness grommet. So I got this 0 gauge wire through that freaking cockapee thing, and it sucked. It was horrible. All right. So up front we have the battery post all connected. I just put some like heat shrink and just made this little top. But that's my positive jump post using the 0 gauge wire. If I need to jump a battery, I could just clamp on here and then find just any other ground post. In the back, you can see here I got the bigger 51R battery. So this is like the common battery for like Civics, a little bit bigger. Just again, this Amazon plate, I had to cut it so that when you close the thing, it sits flush. And then I have this piece of wood mocked up, but that goes underneath, and that's like the bracing that I've had on for a good while. Anyways, so that sits in between this, and then I have my ground wire, my power wire that I ran all the way through. I am gonna put this circuit breaker in, this 140 amp circuit breaker. Probably just gonna mount it here or somewhere close by, maybe on that piece of wood. I'm just waiting for more like 0 gauge wire to come in. I didn't get enough, but for right now they just kind of bolt on here. Just some universal from like AutoZone. I think those are super old. I took those off my Sequoia. Then I got a rubber mat. I have old floor mats that I just cut up. See the comp there? just that way, because these are sitting like super close to the actual body of the car. I didn't want them to like short out, so yeah. Road manners. For the car itself, so much room. So much room. So much room for the K-swap. It's so nice. It's everything back here. And then it'll be like BMW setup. You won't even know I have a battery back there. Oh, this is sick. So I forgot to show this real quick. But you pull everything out. So the way this got mounted was this was just cut in the shape of this kind of thing, so that it just kind of slipped on. Rubber goes actually underneath the battery. And then how the actual piece got mounted to the car was through these bolts that come with the kit. But basically I drilled holes, which was like super scary. 4 holes, 2 on each side, right? Then I clearly spray painted it, and I did like 5 or 6 coats. After that, you can't really see it, I put a buttload of JB Weld right before I put the rift nuts in, and so you can actually see it on this side. I got the rift nuts squashed in, and then there's JB Weld in between that squish and the metal. And then in the actual threads, I use Loctite so that water couldn't run up through the threads. On the other side, I didn't have that problem. I couldn't like find the bolts at all, so I just made sure to spray like into the holes as much as I could, so that I was like for sure there wasn't gonna be a problem. And then I put extra like JB Weld in these. I do plan on remaking this out of plywood, like a little bit nicer, kind of close this gap, cutting these down so that they're not sticking up as far. You don't feel them when the mat's down, but having them stick up like that much kind of freaks me out a little bit. I do plan to go back and put like the beetle mat, like sound deadening, all throughout the body of the car. So with this being removable with the riv nuts and like blue Loctite, should make it easy to pull this out, put a bunch of matting down, and then put it back down and still use everything here, even if I don't end up swapping this out. But for the most part, yeah, super duper clean, super duper nice.